Chapter 4. Everyone's still in a state of shock. I mean, obviously it's great that Tom and Jess are married. It's fab. It's just, we all feel like we've missed a step. Did they have to do it in Chile, in some tiny registry office, with only 2 witnesses and not even let us watch on Skype? We could have had a party. We could have toasted them. Jess says they didn't even have any champagne. They drank some local beer, apparently. Beer. There are some things I don't understand about Jess and never will. No wedding dress. No flowers. No photo album. No champagne. The only single thing she got out of her wedding was a husband. Parentheses, I mean, obviously the husband is the main point when you get married. Absolutely. That goes without saying. But still, not even a new pair of shoes. Close parentheses. And poor old Janice. As they announced the news, her face rose and fell like a roller coaster. You could tell she was trying desperately to look happy and supportive, as if a distant wedding in Chile that she wasn't even invited to was exactly what she'd hoped for all along. Except that a tiny tear in the corner of her eye gave her away. Especially after Jess said they didn't want a reception at the golf club or a wedding list at John Lewis and refused point blank to dress up in a hired wedding dress and pose for photos with Janice and Martin in the garden. Janice looked so miserable. I nearly volunteered to instead. It sounded quite fun, actually. And I saw some amazing wedding dresses in the window of Liberty the other day. Anyway, I suppose that wouldn't exactly have been the point. I finished doing my lip gloss and stand back to survey my reflection. I just hope Janice is more cheerful today. It's supposed to be a celebration after all. I smooth my outfit down and do a little twirl in front of the mirror. I'm wearing this amazing deep blue dress with a fake fur hem, long button boots, and a fake fur muff. Plus, I've got a long coat edged with braid and a huge fake fur hat. Minnie's sitting on my bed trying on all my hats, which is her favorite occupation. She's in a little fur-trimmed dress, too, and white boots that make her look like a skater. I am so into this Russian theme. In fact, I'm toying with getting Reverend Parker to christen her Minska. Minska Katinka Karenina Brodsky Brandon. Come on, Minska, I say experimentally. Time to go and get christened. Take off that hat. Mine. She clings to my red Philip Treacy with the big feather. Mine hat. She looks so cute, I can't bring myself to drag it off her. Plus, I might rip the feather. And does it really matter if she wears a hat? Okay, darling, I relent. You can wear the hat. Now, let's go. I hold out my hand. Mine. She instantly clings onto the Balenciaga bag, which was lying on the bed. Mine. Mine. Minnie, that's Mummy's bag. I point out reasonably. You've got your own little bag. Shall we find it? Mine! Mine bag! She cries furiously and backs away from me. She's holding on to the Balenciaga bag, like it's the last life belt in the ocean, and she's not about to relinquish it to anybody. Minnie, I sigh. To be fair, she does have a point. The Balenciaga bag is way nicer than her own little toy bag. Put it this way, if I were being christened, I'd want a Balenciaga bag too. Well, okay, you have it and I'll take the Mew Mew. But just for today. Now, give me those sunglasses. Mine! Mine! She clings onto the vintage 70s shades, which she swiped from my dressing table earlier. They're pink hearts and keep slipping down her nose. Minnie, you can't go to your christening in sunglasses. Don't be silly. I try to sound severe. Although actually she's rocking quite a good look, what with the hat, the pink shades, and the Balenciaga bag. Well, fine, I say at last, just don't break them. As we stand in front of the mirror in our Russian dresses, I can't help feeling a swell of pride. Minnie looks so gorgeous. Maybe Suze is right. Maybe today will change Luke's mind. He'll see her looking adorable and instantly soften and decide he wants a whole brood of 10. Parentheses, actually, he'd better not. There's no way I'm doing the birth thing 10 times. Even twice is asking a lot, and the only way I'll get through it another time is by focusing on the matching pom-pom hats. Close parentheses. Speaking of Luke, where is he? He popped into the office this morning, but he swore he'd be back by 11. It's 1:45 already. How are you doing? I text him quickly. On way back, I hope. Then I pop my phone into my bag and take Minnie's arm. Come on, I beam at her. Time for your special day. As we head downstairs, I can hear the bustle of the caterers and Dad humming to himself as he does his tie. There are flower arrangements in the hall and glasses being arranged on the hall table. I'll call you from the church, Mum is saying to someone as she comes out of the kitchen. Oh, hi, Mum. I look at her in surprise. She's wearing the Japanese kimono that Janice brought her back from Tokyo. Her hair is scraped back into a bun, and her feet are in little silk slippers. What are you doing in that outfit? Shouldn't you be changed by now? This is what I'm wearing, love. She pets it self-consciously. Janice gave it to me, remember? Pure silk. Such good quality. Have I missed a step here? It's lovely, but it's Japanese. The theme's Russian, remember? Oh, Mum looks vaguely around, as though distracted by something. Well, I don't suppose it really matters. Yes, it does. Oh, love. Mum makes a face. You know, fur irritates my skin. I've been longing to wear this. And Janice has the most exquisite Japanese wedding coat. You'll love it. What? You mean Janice is coming in a Japanese outfit as well? I cut her off in indignation. I should have known this would happen. Mum's been pushing a Japanese theme ever since Janice came back from her holiday to Tokyo and started holding sushi and bridge evenings. But the point is, I'm in charge, and I said the theme was Russian. Sorry to interrupt. A cheerful woman from the caterers comes past with a covered silver tray. Where shall I put the Asian platters, Jane? What? Excuse me. I went round to the caterer. I order Russian food. Caviar, smoked salmon, little Russian cakes, vodka. Plus Asian platters, sushi, and sashimi. The woman looks alarmed. Isn't that right? And sake. Quite right, says Mum hastily. Take them into the kitchen. Thanks, Noreen. I fold my arms and glare at Mum. Who ordered sushi? I may have added a few items to the menu, says Mum, looking a bit evasive, just for variety. But it's a Russian theme. I feel like stamping my foot. What is the point of having a theme if people ignore it and set their own totally different theme without even telling you? We can have 2 themes, love, suggests Mum brightly. No, we can't. It can be a Japanese-Russian fusion, she nods triumphantly. All the celebrities do fusion these days. But I halt midstream. Japanese-Russian fusion. Actually, that's quite cool. In fact, I wish I'd thought of it. You can put some chopsticks in your hair. You'll look lovely. Well, okay, I say at last a bit grudgingly. I suppose we could do that. I get out my phone and quickly text Susan Danny. Hey, new theme for today is Russian-Japanese fusion. See you later, XXX. Immediately, I get a ping back from Sue's Japanese, ? How do I do that? ? SX. Chopsticks in hair? ? I reply. Mom has already produced some black lacquer chopsticks and is trying to stick them into my hair. We need a Kirby grip, she says, tutting. Now, what about Luke? He won't wear chopsticks in his hair, I shake my head, whatever the theme is. No, silly. Mom clicks her tongue. I meant, is he nearly here? We both instinctively glance at our watches. Luke has sworn he won't be late for the christening about 65 times. I mean, he wouldn't be. Goodness knows what this mammoth mega-war crisis is. He won't say anything about it, or even which client it is. But something must have gone fairly pear-shaped, because he's barely even been home in the last couple of days. And when he's called, he's only spoken for about 3 seconds before ringing off again. I take out my phone again and text him. Are you nearly back? ? Where are you? ? A moment later, a reply pings back. Doing best, L. Doing best? What's that supposed to mean? Is he in the car or not? Don't say he hasn't even left the office. I feel a sudden pang under my ribs. He can't be late for his own daughter's christening. He can't. Where's Luke? Dad comes past. Any sign of him yet? Not yet. Cutting it a little fine, isn't he? Dad raises his eyebrows. He'll be here. I muster a confident smile. There's still plenty of time. But he doesn't arrive, and he doesn't arrive. The caterers have finished setting up. Everything's ready. By 20 to 12, I'm standing with Minnie in the hall, staring out at the drive. I was texting him every 5 minutes, but I've given up now. I feel a bit dreamlike. Where is he? How can he not be here? Love, we need to go. Mom has come up softly behind me. Everyone will be arriving at the church. But I turn to see her face all creased up anxiously. She's right. We can't let everyone down. Okay, let's go. As we leave the house, I get out my phone and start to text yet again, my vision a little blurred. Dear Luke, we are going to church. You are missing christening. I buckle Minnie into her little car seat in Dad's car and slide in beside her. I can tell that Mom and Dad are almost killing themselves with restraint, not laying into Luke. I'm sure he's got a good reason, says Dad at last, as he pulls out of the drive. There's silence, as obviously none of us can think of what that reason might be. What was it again, love? Ventures Mom. Some crisis? Apparently. I'm staring rigidly out of the window. Something huge, but it might not happen, that's all I know. My phone suddenly pings. Becky, so sorry, can't explain, still here. We'll take helicopter ASAP. Wait for me, L. I stare at my phone in slight disbelief. Helicopter? He's coming by helicopter? All of a sudden, I feel a bit cheered up. In fact, I almost forgive him for disappearing off and being so mysterious. I'm about to tell Mom and Dad, very casually, about the helicopter, when the phone bleeps again. Maybe a little while yet. Shit about to hit fan. What shit? I text back, feeling prickles of frustration. What fan? But there's no reply. He's so annoying. He always has to be so mysterious. It's probably just some boring old investment fund that made slightly fewer zillions of pounds than it was supposed to. Big deal. The church is already full of guests as we enter, and I wander around, greeting Mom's bridge friends, half of whom are in Japanese outfits. Parentheses, I'm so having it out with Mom later. Close parentheses. I hear myself saying about 50 times. Actually, it's a Japanese-Russian fusion theme, and Luke's just on his way by helicopter. Then Mom leads Minnie off by the hand, and I can hear everyone cooing over her. Bex! I turn to see Suze looking amazing in a purple embroidered coat, fur-trimmed boots, and her hair pinned up with a couple of wooden coffee stirrers from Starbucks. This was the best I could do, she says, gesturing at them crossly. You said Russian. How did Japanese suddenly enter the picture? It was Mom's fault. I'm about to launch into the whole story when the Reverend Parker approaches, all smart in his swishy white robes. Oh, hi there, I beam. How are you? Reverend Parker is fab. He isn't one of those super holy, make you feel bad about everything vicars. He's more of a, do you have a gin and tonic before lunch type? His wife works in the city, and he's always got a tan and drives a Jaguar. I'm very well. He shakes my hand warmly. Lovely to see you, Rebecca. And may I say, it's charming, your Japanese theme. I'm quite a sushi fan myself. It's Japanese-Russian fusion, actually, I correct him firmly. We're having blinis too, and vodka shots. Ah, indeed, he beams. Now, I gather that Luke's been held up. He'll be here very soon, I cross my fingers behind my back. Any minute now. Good, because I'm a little pressed for time. And presumably you've decided on your daughter's middle names? Could you possibly write them down for me? Oh gosh. Nearly, I pull an agonized face. I'm so nearly there. Rebecca, really, says Reverend Parker a tad impatiently. I can't baptize your daughter if I don't know her names. Honestly, talk about pressure. I thought vicars were supposed to be understanding. I'm planning to finalize them once and for all during the prayers, I explain. While I'm praying, obviously, I add hastily at his frozen expression. You know, I might get inspiration from the good book. I pick up a nearby Bible, hoping to get a few brownie points. Very inspirational. Maybe I'll go for Eve or Mary. The trouble with Reverend Parker is he's known me for too long. He just raises his eyebrows skeptically and says, and are the godparents here suitable types, I hope? Of course, here's one. I shove Suze forward, who shakes his hand and immediately starts talking about the church ceiling and whether it's late 19th century. Suze is so great. She always knows what to say to everyone. Now she's talking about the stained glass. Where does she get this stuff? She must have learned it at finishing school after murring lessons. I'm not very interested in stained glass, to be honest, so I flick aimlessly through the Bible. Ooh, Delilah, now that's a cool name. Jesus H. Christ, Becky. A familiar American accent hits my ears. Behind me I can hear a bit of a mild kerfuffle among Mum's friends, and someone exclaiming, who in God's name is that? This can only mean one thing. Danny! I whirl around in joy. You're here! It is so long since I've seen Danny. He's looking skinnier than ever, and is wearing a Cossack-style swirly coat in leather with tight black vinyl trousers and army boots. Plus, he has a tiny white dog on a lead that I've never seen before. I make to hug him, but he lifts up a hand as though he has some momentous announcement to make. This theme? He says incredulously. Japanese/Russian fucking fusion? How much more fucking inspired can you get? My new dog is only a fucking Shih Tzu. No way. Suddenly I remember Reverend Parker standing a foot away. Reverend Parker, this is Danny Kovitz, another of the godparents. Oh, geez, Danny claps a hand over his mouth. I apologize, Reverend, loving the church. He adds generously, gesturing around. Loving your decor. Did someone help you with these colors? You're very kind. Reverend Parker gives him a stiff smile. But if you could keep down the fruity language during the service. Danny's a famous fashion designer, I throw in hastily. Please, Danny gives a modest laugh. Not famous, more renowned, notorious. Where's Luke? He adds to me in a lower voice. I need him. Jarek's been calling me every day. He's threatening to, come round. Danny's voice rises in alarm. You know I don't do confrontation. Jarek is Danny's former business manager. We met him last year and soon realized he was taking a massive cut of Danny's money for basically doing nothing except wearing Danny's clothes for free and having lots of lunches on expenses. Luke was the one who arranged his termination and lectured Danny about not giving people jobs just because you like their haircut. I thought you changed all your numbers, I say, puzzled. I thought you weren't going to take any more of Jarek's calls. I didn't, he says defensively, at first, but he had great tickets for this festival in Bali, so we went to that, and that meant he had my new cell number, so... Danny, you went to a festival with him after you fired him? Danny looks caught out. Okay, I fucked up. Where's Luke? He peers plaintively around the church. Can Luke talk to him? I don't know where Luke is, I say, more snappily than I meant to. He's on his way in a helicopter. A helicopter? Danny raises his eyebrows. Quite the action man. Is he going to drop down on a wire like the SAS? No, I roll my eyes. Don't be silly. Although, come to think of it, maybe he will. I mean, where else are they going to find a place to land a helicopter? I get out my phone and text Luke. Are you in the helicopter yet? Where are you going to land? On roof? Oh my gosh, have you seen his lordship? Danny's been distracted by the sight of Tarquin. Be still, my beating crotch. Danny! I hit his arm and glance at Reverend Parker, who thankfully has moved away. We're in church, remember? Danny has always had a bit of a thing about Tarquin, and to be fair, Tarquin looks pretty extraordinary today. He is wearing a white billowy shirt with black breeches and a heavy military-style coat on top. His dark hair is all ruffled from the wind, which is a great improvement on his normal non-style, and his bony, stoaty face looks almost chiseled in the gloom of the church. That's my next collection right in front of me. Danny's sketching Tarquin on some old book or other. English lord meets Russian prince. He's Scottish, I point out. Even better, I'll throw in a kilt. Danny, I giggle as I catch a glimpse of the sketch. You can't draw that in church. That picture of Tarquin is not accurate. In fact, it's obscene. Although actually I did once hear from Suze's mom that all the Cleith Stewart men are very well endowed. Maybe it's more accurate than I realize. So where's my goddaughter? Danny rips off the page, folds it up, and begins another drawing. She's with Mom somewhere. I look around for Minnie and suddenly spy her about 10 yards away, standing with a group of Mom's friends. Oh gosh, what's she been doing now? She has about 5 handbags looped over her arm and is now tugging hard at an elderly lady's shoulder bag, yelling, "Mine!" So sweet. I hear the lady tinkle with laughter. Here you are, Minnie dear. She drapes the shoulder strap around Minnie's neck, and Minnie staggers off, determinedly clutching all the bags. "Nice Balenciaga," comments Danny. "The perfect accessory when one's being christened." I nod. That's why I let her borrow it. "And you settled for this one, which I know for a fact you've had for a year, whereas the Balenciaga is new." Danny gives a melodramatic sigh. "I can't think of a more beautiful example of motherly love." "Shut up." I give him a push. "Keep drawing." As I watch him sketching, a sudden thought occurs to me. If Danny really does base his next collection on Tarky, then maybe they could join forces somehow. Maybe they could do a tie-in promotion with Shetland shortbread. I'm such a business brain. Luke will be so impressed. I'm about to tell Suze my great idea when Reverend Parker's voice booms out. "Perhaps everyone could take their seats." He starts ushering us toward the pews, and then we can start. "Start already?" I tug anxiously at his white robe as he swooshes past. Luke isn't here yet, so if we could just delay a little longer." "Dear, we've delayed 20 minutes already." Reverend Parker smiles a little chilly. "If your husband isn't going to make it." "Of course he's going to make it." I feel a bit stung. "He's on his way. He'll be here." "Mine!" A high-pitched, gleeful shriek fills the air, and my whole body stiffens in alarm. My head whips round towards the front of the church, and my stomach seems to drop. Huh? Minnie has climbed over the altar rail and is standing right by the altar, turning each handbag upside down and shaking out the contents. Behind me, I can hear the dismayed little shrieks of Mum's friends as they see all their things tumbling out and rolling along the floor. "Minnie," I yell, pegging it up the aisle. "Stop that!" "Mine!" She's joyfully shaking a Burberry shoulder bag, and coins are cascading out of it. The whole altar is a mess of purses and money and makeup compacts and lipsticks and hairbrushes. "This is supposed to be your christening," I say furiously in Minnie's ear. "You're supposed to be on your best behavior, or you'll never get a brother or sister." Minnie looks totally unrepentant, even as all Mum's friends arrive and start exclaiming and tutting and scrabbling for the bags and money. On the plus side, at least the kerfuffle delays proceedings, but even so, Reverend Parker is soon herding everyone into the pews. "If everyone could please sit down, we really need to get on." "What about Luke?" whispers Mum anxiously as she takes her seat. "He'll make it," I say, trying to sound confident. "I'll just have to spin things out till he arrives. There'll be loads of prayers and talking. Surely I'll be fine." Okay, I'm writing to the Archbishop of Canterbury. In my opinion, christenings are far, far too short. We're all sitting in the front few rows of the church. We've had about 2 prayers and a few little bits to say about renouncing evil. We've all sung a hymn, and Minnie has spent the time shredding 2 hymn books. Parentheses was the only way to keep her quiet. "I'll give the church some money," goes parentheses. And now suddenly Reverend Parker has asked us all to gather around the font, and I'm panicking. We can't be up to the splashy water bit yet. I'm not letting Luke miss the big moment. There's been no sign of him. He isn't replying to any of my texts. I'm hoping against hope that he switched off his phone because it would interfere with the helicopter controls. My neck is craned, trying to listen for a judder outside. "Minnie," Reverend Parker smiles at her. "Are you ready?" "Wait," I say desperately as people start getting to their feet. "Before the actual christening, Minnie's godmother, Susan Cleese Stewart, wishes to recite a poem for the occasion. Don't you, Suze? Suze instantly turns in her seat and whispers, "What?" "Please, Suze," I hiss back. "I need to buy some time, or Luke will miss it." "I don't know any poems," she mutters as she gets up. "Just read something out of the hymn book, something long." Rolling her eyes, Suze picks up a hymn book and heads to the front, then smiles around the audience. "I would like to recite." She opens the book and riffles through. "We Three Kings." She clears her throat. "We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar." Suze is such a star. She reads it at a snail's pace and does all the choruses twice through. "Very nice," Reverend Parker stifles a yawn. "And now, if you could gather around the font." "Wait," I swivel on my seat. Minnie's godfather, Danny Kovitz, will now." I gaze imploringly at him. "He will also say a poem? Please." I mouth silently and Danny winks back. "In honor of my goddaughter's christening, I will now perform The Real Slim Shady by Eminem," he says confidently. Yikes. I hope Reverend Parker doesn't listen too closely. Danny isn't the best rapper in the world, but by the time he's finished, everyone's clapping and whooping, even all of Mum's bridge friends. So then Danny does an encore of Stan, with Suze doing the Dido bits. Then Tom and Jess pitch in with a South American prayer for children, which is actually really moving. And then Dad takes to the floor and sings Que Sera Sera, with everyone joining in with the chorus, and Martin conducting them with one of Janice's chopsticks. Reverend Parker is starting to look seriously pissed off by now. "Thank you, everyone, for your interesting contributions," he says tightly. "And now, if you could gather around the font." "Wait," I interrupt him. "As Minnie's mother, I would just like to make a short speech." "Rebecca," snaps Reverend Parker, "we really do have to proceed." "Just a quick one." I hurry to the front of the church, almost tripping up in my haste. I'll just keep talking till Luke arrives. It's the only way. "Welcome, friends and family." I gaze around, avoiding Reverend Parker's stony eye. What a special day this is. A special, special day. Minnie is being christened. I pause as though to let this thought sink in and quickly check my phone. Nothing. But what do we mean by that? I lift a finger just like Reverend Parker does in his sermons. Or are we all just here for the ride? There is an interested ripple in the audience, and a couple of people nudge each other and whisper. I'm quite flattered, actually. I hadn't thought my speech would cause such a stir. Because it's easy to go through life without ever looking around at the flowers. I give a significant nod, and there are more whispers and nudges. This reaction I'm getting is amazing. Maybe I could get into preaching. I've obviously got a natural gift for it, and I do have quite a lot of profound ideas. It makes you think, doesn't it? I continue. But what do we mean by think? Everyone's whispering now. People are passing iPhones along the pews and pointing at something. What's going on? I mean, why are we all here? My voice is drowned out by the growing hubbub. What's happening? I exclaim. What are you all looking at? Even Mom and Dad are fixated by something on Mom's BlackBerry. Becky, you'd better have a look at this, says Dad in a strange voice. He gets up and passes me the BlackBerry, and I find myself looking at a TV newsreader on the BBC website. Latest on our breaking news that the Bank of London has agreed emergency funding from the Bank of England. This comes after days of secret talks in which bosses battled to save the situation. The newsreader continues talking, but I don't hear what he's saying. I'm gripped by the picture. It's of several men in suits leaving the Bank of England looking grim. One of them is Luke. Luke was at the Bank of England. Oh my goodness. Is he at the Bank of England now? The picture on the screen has changed to a group of commentators sitting around a table looking grave with that girl TV presenter in the glasses who always interrupts people. So essentially, the Bank of London is bust. Is that right? She says in that forceful way she has. Bust is a very strong word, one of the commentators begins. But I can't hear what else he says because of the havoc breaking out in the church. It's bust. The Bank of London's gone bust. But that's where all our money is. Mum looks a bit hysterical. Graham, do something. Get it out. Get the money. Our holiday fund, Janice moans. My pension. An elderly man is struggling to his feet. I'm sure we shouldn't overreact, Jess is saying above the hubbub. I'm sure no one will lose anything. Banks are guaranteed. But no one's listening to her. My portfolio. Reverend Parker rips off his robes and heads for the door of the church. You can't just leave, I call after him incredulously. You haven't christened Minnie yet. But he totally ignores me, and to my amazement, Mom is hot-footing it after him. Mom, come back. I grab Minnie's hand before she legs it too. Everyone's leaving. Within moments, the church is empty, except for me and Minnie, Suze, Tarky, Jess, Tom, and Danny. We all glance at each other, then, in silent accord, hurry to the back of the church. We burst out of the big wooden door, and then all just stand there on the porch in shock. Sweet Jesus, breathes Danny. The high street is full of people. There must be 200, 300 maybe, all streaming the same way along the pavement to the tiny branch of Bank of London, outside which a line has already formed. I can see Mum anxiously jostling for a place, and Reverend Parker blatantly line barging in front of an old lady, while a young, panic-stricken guy in bank teller's uniform tries to keep order. As I'm gaping at the scene, something attracts my attention. Just along from the Bank of London, directly opposite the church, I glimpse a figure in the throng. Dark helmet-like hair, pale skin, Jackie O-type sunglasses, houndstooth suit. I peer harder in disbelief. Is that can't be Eleanor? But as I'm trying to focus, she, or whoever it was, disappears into the crowd. I rub my eyes and look again, but all I can see now is a policeman who has appeared out of nowhere and is telling people to get off the road. Weird, I must have imagined it. Look at the cop, says Danny in delight. He's about to lose it. He's going to start tasering people in a minute. Oh my gosh. Sue suddenly points upwards with a gasp. This is unreal. Now there are people climbing on the roof of the bank. I exchange flabbergasted looks with Sue. It's like aliens have invaded, or war has broken out, or something. I've never seen anything like it my whole entire life.